My name is H. Scott Gordon, and I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Georgia. I just want to first of all thank my sister and talk about our relationship and how I got to this point. So, around 7 years ago, I was interning in Forest Park, and this bright-eyed, bright-spirited young lady came into my office and said, "Hey, I'm here to intern with you." I was like, all right. And when she said that first 30 seconds, either you're going to love or hate her, and I was battling because she was a little aggressive, but but I loved her vibe, I loved her spirit. And that started, I can't say a friendship, because a friendship doesn't do justice to who we are to each other. Marcia, and I don't even know how she came up with this, but we became Batman and Robin. Where I was the Batman because I was the mentor and she was my Robin. But as you can see, sometimes the student surpasses the teacher. I'm so proud of her and her work because through those 2 years of intern, we went through a lot. We went through a lot. I got fired after I got hired because I ain't gonna let nobody talk to me crazy. That's just the Bronx in me, please forgive me. But I remember the day we graduated because we graduated together in New Orleans. And we were down there almost side by side to each other. And we said something that we had been echoing through our internship and then into our licensure and beyond, that we are going to change the face of mental health in our community. And the work that she's doing is restorative. It's groundbreaking. It's foraging. I am so inspired. I'll be like, damn, what's she doing this? All right, here we go. We got some bowls happening. I don't know, but because of her love for humanity and her love for people, that's why. Because when you also look at the why, your why also asks your purpose. Why are you here on this rock, right? And I know my sister's here to heal, to help. Because it's genuine, it's natural, it's like her breathing. And that's why we are kindred spirits, because I believe that's why I know why my purpose. I get up every day and live and walk in my purpose, and life becomes so much fulfilling and easy. When you walking, when you hear, in my private practice, oftentimes, and I do this, you ask what your goals and your objectives are. We write them down. But see, I'm funny. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to give you before you leave me. These are 3 things that I assure my clients have. 1, they will find their purpose. Before you leave me, you're going to know why out of the 100 trillion opportunity for you to be alive. See, some people just don't understand the lottery that you won of life. It's almost a 1,000,000,000,000 to 1 odds that you are sitting here today. Not a million, not a billion, 1,000,000,000 to 1 odds. So there's no mistakes. So understand that you're here for a purpose. What is it? Number 2, if you aren't already, you will fall in love with yourself. Because you cannot define the relationship between anyone else until you define that relationship with yourself. Self-love is, if I didn't have this t-shirt, come on and say, oh, bro, you always got some self-love, self-care. I had to represent the company today, the company name. But that is so important on your journey. Because if you don't love yourself, you're going to be stuck in that people-pleasing routine. And the third thing is you're going to be emotionally intelligent. We talk about IQ, but there's also a thing called EQ, your emotional quotient. And that's when you're self-aware, you're able to self-manage, you have empathy, you have social skills. All of those things allow you to be emotional, like you can read the room. when you come in, that's not that energy. You're able to read the room. So those are the three things that I guarantee my clients, if they stick around long enough, and I am so blessed to, I just finished our 3rd year in private practice. So a safe space has weathered the test of time. And, so there I am, H. Scott Gordon. And we always talk about the why, and I'm going to get into why. But you see, my mission statement is to eradicate the stigma of mental health in our community. I love this women empowerment movement and this conference, and I'm honored to be the first male to present to you. Because 75% of my practice is men. 80% of the men are black men. So black men are coming to therapy, y'all. Black men are coming to therapy. You know why? Because I'm my authentic self all day, every day, twice on Sunday. What you see is what you gonna get. So if y'all go home and tell your significant other, yeah, he might cuss you out. Might. It depends on the situation if it's needed. But he's gonna keep it 100% with you. He's gonna walk this walk. He's gonna talk this talk with you. Because that's all I know how to be is me. And that's been pretty successful for me. And I thank God for revealing my purpose. I thank God for my sister in therapy. So Marcia has this uncanny way of asking me to do something. So, bro, I need your assistance. Where, when, and how. That's it. I need you to present. When? I need you to, for how long? I'm there. I erase my schedule on Saturdays because I am a grinder. I work 6 days a week. I see between 35 and 45 clients a week. Mama like to eat. So she like these, and my wife likes to travel and things like that. She's so spoiled, y'all. We've been going through a tough phase. Our daughters are experiencing bullying in the high school. So we've been thinking about moving them. We've had to go through a lot. And she's gone through a lot, right? And they're our daughters. They're my bonus babies. They're her biological, but they're still our daughters. And she just needed to get back to our essence. As Marcia says, we are 98% water. My wife needs sand and water. So as soon as she said that, we booked, we flying to Miami next Friday. And because I'm walking in my purpose, God has blessed me the ability to do that, to be able to do that. And I'm so gracious. So today, when I spoke to my sister about the topic that I wanted to present to you beautiful ladies, she was talking about father wounds. I said, ooh, Lord, father wounds. It's a deep subject. And in thinking about that, I said in all wounds. So my big topic is father wounds, but the question that y'all are going to be thinking about is, and understand this statement, unhealed wounds bleed on others that didn't hurt you. Let me say that again, because I didn't get enough I didn't get enough amens in the corner. Unhealed wounds bleed on others that didn't hurt you. And your question today will be, who hurt you? Who are you still continually bleeding on today, and you have no idea?
That's rich, bro.
So father wounds. The definition, y'all can see it. I'm not going to read it verbatim. This is just a guide. If y'all like to take notes, you may. But I like to little PowerPoint. I couldn't come in here half-stepping for my sister. You know what I'm saying? It's basically the absence of the emotional connection. Sometimes it's the physical, because some of y'all don't even know your dad, which is a wound upon itself. But if there was a dad present or a father figure present, it's that emotional connection. I tell a story. My example is my wife. My wife raised about her daddy. Lord Jesus, I thought he was the second coming. But unfortunately, he was killed when she was 10 years old. So that is her father wound. You know, it's deep, and she doesn't, we talk through it, and of course I can't, I can't have therapy with my wife, I'm too close. But she has her therapist, and understanding that the loss of your father treat how you treat me, how you treat our children. Even though you felt that that was 40, let me not tell Angel, 36 years ago. Shut up, Marcia. Don't tell Jasmine, omit that. Don't let Angel see that. But it's still there. Because trauma is not meant to be held on to, ladies. It is not meant to. Trauma is like a slow poison in your emotional and mental capacity that slowly, it's not a quick death, but slowly just devastate you emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And the only way to do is confront it and then release it. You have to heal your unhealed wounds. So how do we do that? So today I'm going to talk from an attachment theory style. So back in 1950, a psychoanalyst named John Bowlby did what we would consider today a kind of cruel experiment. But it was the 1950s. So he took some chimpanzee babies and removed them from their mother. And he put them in two separate cages, right? And in one cage, both cages had a mechanical mother, right? So the mechanical mother had their ability to feed, memories for them to feed. But one mother was wrapped in soft terry cloth and was heated. The other mother was made of steel. They can still murder and had barbed wire. Ooh. So there was no capacity for those little chimpanzee babies to bond, to cuddle. The thing that my sister said that she needed so much. Within months of each other, those with the mechanical mother that had barbed wires, they died. Proving to us that bonding, that nurturing, that first 18 to 24 months of our life that we don't even remember mentally, but emotionally, it scars us for the rest of our lives if we don't have the ability to deal with our trauma. So from that, other analysts came together and they formed what's called the 4 attachment style. And I know if you've done work with my sister, you'll know what they are. So they are secure, avoidant, anxious, and disorganized. And what I'm going to wrap this around and spin this around, hopefully, is show you through what your attachment style is and how, because you might have this attachment style, that you're hurting the people that you love, your relationships, and then your parenting. All right? All right. So, write down the question. Who are you bleeding on as a result of unhealed wounds? Please. Who are you bleeding on as a result of unhealed wounds? Again, who are you bleeding on as a result of unhealed wounds? See, my sister said y'all had to have a question. She like y'all have some answers and things like that, so I had to become appropriate. All right, so let's talk about these wounds. First, avoid it. And the attachment style says it, we avoid, we don't get close, we don't let anyone in. It is defined as the failure to build long-term relationships with others due to the inability to engage in physical and emotional intimacy. I'm not going to have nobody raise their hand, but I know a hit dog will holler. Right? How do you get this avoid, or how do you know that you might be avoided? So, we're talking about fathers. If your father may have given a had strict or emotional distance and an absent caregiver, right? He was that authority figure. But did he ever hug you, right? Did he left you to fend for yourself? I heard a lot of avoidance in Marcia's story about her relationship with her mother, right? Were you expected to be independent? You're the independent child. Were you reprimanded for depending on them? Were you rejected for expressing your need for emotional stability? That hug. Get away from me, girl. And you've been slow to respond to your basic needs. These are symptoms and signs that you might be experiencing or might have an avoidant attachment style. All right? How this affects your relationships. The need for emotional intimacy is simply lacking in this type of individual. So romantic relationships are surface level at best. They avoid. So if you're the person, hey babe, we need to talk about what's going on. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. You run from the difficult conversations. You run from being vulnerable, right? Because we're scared. We want to avoid it. We don't want to sit with that. While in your relationships, you allow romantic partners to engage with them, they avoid getting emotionally close. Partners feel if they can never get inside, you don't let anyone in. And that's sabotaging your relationships because you have to have that vulnerability, that intimacy to have any type of quality relationship. Right? So that's how you're bleeding on your significant others. And even in your friendship relationships, you don't let anybody get close. Like, I know this lady inside and out. I knew when her father died what she needed. What she needed. My niece back there, when she needed something from her uncle. Because if any woman in my life that I love, that I care for, needs help, she is my first call. I'm going to give you one, my sister. Because I know that she's going to give you the same quality or better, I'm on film, that I would give you. And that's my trust that I have for her. She's seen my daughters, right? Most important to me. And that's my trust to her. So, how does this, we talk about children, how do avoidant parents hurt their children? How are we bleeding on our children? Some avoidant parents are just assholes. I'm sorry, I had to say it. Some are busy. Some are just slightly neglectful. But this third type hit me, ladies, because there's some parents who care more about grades and chores, right? And your manners. But they never had you about your hopes, your dreams, your fears, right? And a lot of us, I have a large population of second generation immigrants, some Hispanic, some Asian, and they are having to learn how to feel because there was none of that in their culture. None of that. You go to school, you know, we were talking to a Caribbean Jamaican family. If you're not a doctor or a nurse, you're a failure. Good job, Jeff. You are a failure in life. But what if that is not your passion? What is that not your purpose? So that's how we as parents, we bleed if we have that avoidant attachment style. Any questions? So two.
You taking us to school? Go ahead. I'm here.
You know you're a hard act to follow, so I gotta get it right. Your anxious attachment style. That's right. I got an amen right there. So anxious is this new designer word for what? What is anxiety a new designer word for? What? I can't hear you. Come on, we question answer. What is it? Fear. I'm scared. See, that's what men can say that. Oh, I'm anxious. Hey, girl, you scared and you just don't want to say you scared. I'm anxious. Yeah. That's okay because you know where it is. It's the bravado. So when you have an anxious attachment style, it's all around fear. Fear of abandonment, fear of emotionally rejection, you know. So example of this in a father one is that your father was supportive and responsive to your needs at some of the time, but then he was aloof and unattuned to you. So it was almost ambiguous. He gave you a little, but then took it away, right? So you were very ambiguous. You were confused, like, well, Daddy, I know he's there, but then sometimes I ain't got no time for you. You know, I'm doing this presentation, or you know, I ain't got your mama gonna come to your games. Your mama gonna come to your practices, but I need you, Daddy. I need you. And some of y'all have that wound. Dad never came to a recital, never came to a dance, never came to a soccer game, a basketball game. I knew my sister could hoop. She told me about her hooping days. That's hard when you're looking out in the stands and your hero is not there. And a lot of it is because we're working and all of that, but we have to stop. We have to stop as parents at times and be there. And then you do the same thing. Yeah, I'm going to get on you too. All right, so how does this manifest in our relationships? People with an anxious attachment styles usually feel unworthy of love and need constant reassurance from their partner. Baby, you love me? Do I look good today? You ain't called me 15 times today, you know, are you out of love with me? Oh, you know, so they need that constant. Oh, you like her because her booty a little bigger than mine. What's that going to do to your relationship? It's going to put that undue strain on it because you constantly, I need because I'm scared. Right? I'm scared that you're going to reject me. Right? Anxious people often blame themselves. You know, do you ever have a person, or you might be that person, my bad, it ain't your damn bad, you ain't do nothing. What you apologizing for? He cheated on you and you apologizing. For real? For real? Why? Because you don't love yourself. We're going to get into that a little later. Right? Because you're so scared of being abandoned, of being rejected, and don't understand that the things you're doing are pushing your partner farther. You're pushing your friend farther away. How does this, as parents, how does this affect us as parents? You alternate between overly cuddly, oh, come here, give me all of that hug, and then you're not present at all. So that's when that ambiguity comes. That's where the confusion in their life comes. And you put your feelings on your children.
Ooh, you better say that.
Ooh. You blame your child for your depression. Or your anxiety. You know, you're just making me anxious because, you know, this teacher called me and, you know, it said you got a C. We don't take C's in this house because the only thing we're worried about is grades. I can't take it anymore. I'm overwhelmed. How do you feel as a little girl or a teenager or even an adult when your caregiver says things like that? They make you responsible for their feelings. So then we become codependent. And that's why we seek other people's approval. Don't do that to your children. Don't do that to your significant others, ladies. And gentlemen, please hear that. Number three. Say three.
Three.
Disorganized attachment style, or we call it fearful avoidant. So it has connotations of both, right? A disorganized, attachment style is defined as having extremely inconsistent behavior, and difficulty trusting others. This is usually an effect of severe neglect, abuse, rape, childhood traumas. And these type of people have this love my dad, but I'm scared. Look at the example. Your dad is the best. He comes home, he helps you with your homework, he's teaching you algebra, he's asking about your day. Then he goes to the liquor store and gets a six-pack. And this person that you love, that you cherish, that you revere, this manly man who's protecting and provides you, now becomes your sense of fear, because now he becomes abusive. He's very heavy-handed when he disciplines you for really either emotionally or cussing you. You know, so you have that ambiguous. You're like, oh my God, I don't know, because I love him, but I'm scared. I love him, but I'm scared. And y'all smart in here, because y'all know where we're going in relationships, right? Y'all can see that manifesting in a relationship, right? The relationship people with disorganized attachment styles tend to have unpredictable and confusing behavior. I wonder why. They alternate between being aloof and indifferent, and then clingy and emotional. You go back and forth. You have that avoidant and that attachment style at the same time. You getting a double whammy, ladies. Right? While you seek love, you push it away. Come here, baby. I love you. Get away. You're spending too much time. All right, come here. So it's that cat and mouse. That, you know, I want you in my life, but I'm scared that you're going to reject me. So at times I can be disorganized, or I can be avoidant. Then I can be fearful that he's going, well, yeah, because you're pushing them away. There's a lot of self-sabotage going on in your relationships. You are your worst enemy. How does this affect our babies? Parents with disorganized attachment styles are inconsistent and often seen as sources of comfort and fear by their children, which leads to disorganized behavior. You cannot be a Jekyll and Hyde to your children and think they're going to be okay. And we have bad days. I'm not saying you can't have a bad day, but you can't downgrade them and belittle them and destroy them, because again, they didn't cause your wounds, but you're bleeding on them. You're bleeding on them. Now, I don't know if I can go backwards. Oh, I can. Fancy. Let's go back to it. Who are you bleeding on as a result of unhealed wounds? I want some feedback. I want some feedback today.
I'll go ahead. I'll say my children, because of me not being present and trying to be a part of their world in a sense. So I think I'm bleeding on it because my mother raised 8 children, and she wasn't able to be present because she had to also be a provider for the home.
Absolutely.
And so I think I'm bleeding on them for having the guilt of not being available. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Go ahead. I feel like you can bleed on yourself.
Ooh, you gonna say that?
Because when you allow your experiences, especially with your parents, they kind of teach you how to build relationships with men and women. And when you allow the experiences with them to control how you look at yourself or how you love or lack thereof of yourself, you're bleeding on you, and you didn't cause the wound.
Exactly.
It's good.
Profound.
And I agree, that was my first thought, but then when you spoke, I thought about my daughter. She's 32 now, but every so often I reflect on, because I'm in a different place now than I was when I had her at 19, and and I think about all the mistakes I feel I made with her, and she tries to reassure me, "Mommy, you did good." I was like, I still feel like I messed up with you, but I know where it came from, and I think I'm that. Which one is it? The double one? Disorganized and disorganized attachment style, and I think I still hold on to my daddy issues, because my daddy was not all the way in my life, but when I became an adult, he gave me that love that I needed from him as a child, but it came late, and then the battle with my mother, taking her anger towards him out on me all the time, it was, but I tried to love on my daughter as much. Like, never a day, even to this day, we always say I love you. Yes. We begin the day with it and end the day with it, but I just know that there were some other things I could have done that if I had been in a different space.
Stop.
Yeah.
You can't take it back, sister.
Say that.
That's true.
You can't take it back. But you acknowledging that, and especially if you acknowledge that to her, that is so powerful.
Yeah.
Because now you're owning it.
Yeah.
You're taking accountability. I didn't mean to, baby, but I know I hurt you. A lot of times, me and my wife go through this situation because she feels if she didn't mean to hurt me, she doesn't need to apologize.
Right.
But I said, I'm sorry, sis, I'm not gonna help. So I said, well, if I stretch out and I punch you in your face by accident, then I'm not supposed to say I'm sorry. Right? But we have to understand, we hurt people unintentionally because we don't know. Because again, hurt people.
Hurt people. And they only hurt people because unhealed wounds that they are not aware of.
Yes. I had a brother come to me yesterday, Marcia. He, I spoke at a conference 2 weeks ago, and his girlfriend was an LPC. Oh, you're taking clients because my boyfriend needs, So he called me yesterday, and you can tell he was like, "Yeah, is this Mr. Gordon?" "Yeah, this is Scott." My girlfriend called me, and I'm just checking the boxes because, bro, there's no, So I said, okay, well, let's just talk about it. By the end of the phone call, bro's like, when do I sign up? When can we have? Because he told me a story about health, right? And he talked about I said, well, how's your how you feel? He said, any change? He said, yes, I have a 9-year-old now. He's 50, so he just had a daughter later in life. And he said, since the day she was born, I took more because my father died at 49 and my grandfather died at 55. Already traumatic. There ain't nothing wrong with him. We didn't even get there. I ain't even go there on him yet. I ain't hit him with that. But then he said, well, I've started going because I didn't go to the doctor. So I'm improving my health. I said, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're improving one part of your health, your physical. What about your mental, bro? Well, I said, but you go to the doctor every year to get a checkup, right? To assess if you need. So what you scared about? What you scared about? Come and let me assess you. He was like, you're right. You're right. Any other person want to share who they're bleeding on?
One of the things I want to say about that bleed, don't be afraid to be true with you. Oftentimes we'll band-aid the bleed so that we'll still have this presentation of put together. Even if you don't stand up in here today or say something today, be true with yourself about your true bleed. Because if you're not true with yourself, don't expect other people to be true with you. Check in with yourself. Assess yourself.
And young lady, I do want you to go, but I also wanted to, she spurred, and I'm 59 years old and I smoke weed, so sometimes my memory. I'm sorry.
Cuss and smoke weed. Let's go, Doc.
I'm sorry. I thought we was at a
We
Marcia's conference. We grown and we. So I forget stuff a lot. Like, huh? What? But also, I want you to even take it a step further. Who are you still allowing to bleed on you? Okay? Okay?
That's good.
Because that's what boundaries. Because I love what you said about no. Because no is the most powerful two-letter word in the English language, especially for two reasons. Self-care and boundaries. Because when you set them boundaries around you, my no is my no, or my no is my no, or my hell no is my hell no. That word no, because that is you're owning that. 3 things that I do when I start out with my clients. First, 10 things that you love and hate about yourself, because I gotta know how you see yourself. So they have to write a list, and I time them, because what's in your frontal matter comes out quickly. Then, and this is what I got from Road to Recovery, because they had, and I know you had this group too called Values Clarification. I was like, what the hell? It's because we don't talk about values, but values are who you are. When people ask me who I am, I don't say I'm a clinician, I'm a father. I am a peace-seeking, God-loving family man, because spirituality, peace, and family are my 3 top values. And if you don't know your values, you don't know you. But then it comes to the 3rd part, boundaries. Because why do I do values, ladies, before I do boundaries?
You can't have a boundary if you don't know what you value.
You don't know what to put around. You don't know what's sacred to you. Being I know peace is my number 1 value. I love you, Jesus, but I need my peace. And you give me that peace. But my peace, anybody who tries to disturb my peace got to go. That mama, daddy, dog, cat, wife, and children, not going to disturb my peace. Colleagues, because my peace is everything, because I can't do what I do without my peace.
First of all, I feel like a hurt dog with all 3 of those things. But I'm wondering, because of that part when you go back and sort of apologize and explain why, you got to be ready to deal with the response. The response.
But here's the thing about dealing with that response. You don't have to own the response.
No.
When you go in and you say, listen, I realize now that the things that you need from me, I didn't know how to give to you then. I apologize.
That's right.
It ain't your job to figure out how they gonna handle it. I tell this story often. My dad said one time, come to hear me speak at a conference, and he said, you said something. You said, it's not my job to read the mail, but to deliver it. When you're going in your honest state of existence, I messed up because I didn't know then what I know now. And I'm honoring you. My kids think I think I get on their nerves because I always go back to them and say, yo, man, tell me, when I did this, how did that impact you? This one right here, she's so nonchalant. Man, that's your son. I'm good. That's usually her response, right? But I check in because I recognize that the pressure I was under as a single parent brought out things, like you said, you gotta have good grades. I mean, my kids were in sports and all that, and I was actively participant, but I still recognize that my tone, my acceptance, all of that stuff could have impacted their now. So for me, I go back and check in and say to them, yo, when I did this, how did that make you feel? I can't make them come up with a response for me. All I can do is give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they want to come back in their beat up place, you gotta recognize it ain't personal. Their beat up of you is them still dealing with the wound inside of them. You can't take it personal. You can't be like, girl, I done apologize to you.
You can't fight it.
Yeah, just let them say what they need to say and don't be in offense.
Because you are starting a healing process. When you
Yes.
took that step of being accountable, I messed up. There was a time when, and I know y'all can't believe this about me, so it's the truth. I used to be a womanizer. I know you can't. Not you.
We got 2 books to prove it.
There you go with my business. And once I found out, and it took my now wife is my girlfriend leaving my ass alone, that I had to start looking like, yo, bro, you are manipulating. But you thought you was guys give you, they all want that, you know what I'm saying? I had to go back to my sons and apologize, because this is not what I want. They used to see daddy, one go out, one come in, one go out, one come in, and things like that. That's not what I want you to be. I want you to be better than me. But I didn't know. So it's okay. And that actually brought me closer. Me and my children are like this. Like her and her children are like this. Me and my children are like this. We can discuss everything. Because they can ask me, Daddy, why? And I have no problem. Because I have no problem saying why I am the way I am.
And don't get offended, man. If kids, and I tell this to not only my younger population, but my older population, if they take the courage to actually have a conversation, don't get offended.
They're
That's
speaking
their
their truth.
true feelings, even if it comes out in pain and hurt. It's their truth. Your main job in that is simply, I hear you. Not trying to fix it right now, because you can't go back in the past and fix it. All you can do is better situations in the now. Not trying to prove. My mama, I love her, but she was notorious. If I would ask my mother a question about why sometimes, I guess I wasn't a good mother. That ain't what I'm saying.
asking.
Stop manipulating me emotionally. Lady, look, this thing hurt. And then even coming to the end, and this is why I love my mom so much, because my mother trusted me in her last breath to be there, because she knew she was going to be safe. My aunt was there, and when I had to grab my mother's hands, when she was fighting the nurse, and I said to her, I won't let nobody else hurt you. And her body said, and she relaxed. Because she, even still, because she was unconscious at that time, right? When the nurse was trying to fight her. Yeah. And so she was still fighting. And I had to grab her hand and say, baby, I ain't gonna let nobody else hurt you. And I looked at the nurse, this one right here, I'll kill you for. Just know that you might need to go get somebody else. Don't treat her like this, because it's a strong woman. You're not gonna treat her like you can just push her away. But my mother knew that our good was real good. The reason why people have such a hard time in grief and letting go, because you're good, not good. You holding on to stuff that you want somebody to come in and apologizing for. They not. You know what you experienced. Validate you. Honor you. Be there for you. Love you. And let it go. Let it go.
So the last thing I want to share with you before I turn it back over to these beautiful ladies is a story. And it's a story about, I was trying to deal with my mother and father wound. So December 31st, 1999, I got my mother and father on the phone and started cussing and crying because you never was there. You didn't give me the blueprint. That's why I was going through the book. That's why my marriage is messed up, because you never taught me. Y'all were selfish and things like that. And my mama, bless her heart, she's no longer with us, but she's always with me right here. My mama, she was so baby, but this. And my father, and I'll never forget this because I thought he was the coldest bastard in the world during this time. It's like, what we gonna do about it? We can't do it over. What can we do moving forward? So that's the question. What do you need from me moving forward? I can't undo that. Because there's a great thing about the past. And I'm such a movie person and things like that. So I use this scene from A Lion King. When Rafiki smacked him in the head, right? He's like, ow! He said, that hurt. He said, it doesn't matter. Why? Because it's in the past. The past hurts. But you can either learn from it or run from it. And then he swung the staff again and he got. That is only what rumination is. That's only to find out the lesson that God was teaching you through the pain. My next book that I'm coming out with, I'm coming out with two, but my next novel is going to be The Better in the Darkness. Because I work so hard with my clients on positive mindsets and things like that. So for every storm, there's a silver lining. So if y'all don't take anything from me today, ladies, always seek the better in the darkness.